What do you see? Deception, an intentional act that misleads someone into believing a false truth. Often in entertainment, it's used as a marketing ploy in hopes to wow their audiences. You'll have a vague trailer to a movie that's releasing soon that promotes one story, but when the film finally comes out, filmgoers are taken by surprise when they see that the movie is vastly different from what was marketed. This marketing tactic is dicey. You have to really believe the real product that you have will satisfy the viewer once they learn the truth. While it's often used in film and television, it isn't something you quite see in the video game industry. When it comes to marketing a game, the main focus is typically to showcase the gameplay. That's what most people want to see from these trailers. They could care less about the story. There's only one case that I can recall that actually attempted to use this method, and that was with The Last of Us Part 2. And, well, we all know how the audience took that
This
one.
might be one of the worst games I've ever played.
You're like, well, what the was the point in this then?
Besides that, there hasn't really been a game that I can think of in which the marketing deceived their audience. Until I came across one. One that, to this day, gave me one of the most unique gaming experiences I've ever had. After playing Outer Wilds, I craved for the next life-changing game to play. I was trying everything. No longer did I bound myself within first-person shooters. I was playing games from vastly different genres. I wanted to try everything new and different, and while a lot of the games I played were fun and great, none of them were really memorable. Yeah, I mean, if someone were to ask me what I thought of a certain game and I played it, I would most likely say it was fun. But if someone were to ask me what my favorite games were off the top of my head, I would only say 3. Last of Us Part 2, Inside, and Outer Wilds. I played Last of Us Part 2 and Inside years ago, and Outer Wilds was the most recent of the 3. So after playing all these new games, I was rather disappointed that I wasn't able to find a game that would make it into that list. Until I did. Omori. A game that no one can tell you about if you've never played it. Much like Outer Wilds, the best experience going into the game is blind. Now, with Outer Wilds, that wasn't necessarily a challenge. You hear the words space exploration, adventure, puzzle solving, and that's all you really need to know. With Omori, it's
Just play it. Don't look at the trailer. Hey, you can't know anything. You gotta go blind. Blind.
I remember when I found the game. Omori had been made available through Game Pass. I had just about played all the games that interested me on the subscription service, but this one was new. The game cover instantly caught my eye. Now, when I clicked on it, I was immediately put off. I hate these games. This is not my genre at all. But I was in my experimental phase. I told myself, we don't discriminate genres anymore. I looked at the screenshots and I instantly thought,
oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
yeah, I was hating hard on this game before it started. It was giving me Undertale vibes, just with the more colorful palette. A game that I couldn't even finish because I wasn't a fan of the combat in it. I'm sorry, but I'm just not a fan of RPGs. But much like Undertale, Omori had stellar reviews. Reviews that I just couldn't overlook. A majority of them on Steam say to play the game before you get it spoiled. You'll be glad you did. I'm a sucker for reviews like that. It's exactly what got me to play Outer Wilds in the first place. So I withheld all my previous judgments, downloaded the game, cleared my mind, and went in blind as recommended. The game starts with this. I remember when I watched this for the first time. I felt like I had a massive question mark on top of my head. I was clueless. Who's talking? Who's the kid that's crying? Why is he crying? Who's this other kid? All I know is these two kids have made a promise. I'm then welcomed to white space. And it quite literally is white space. I was playing this at 2 a.m., so the brightness really woke me up. An 8-bit melody starts to play as the camera follows a long black cord connected to a light bulb down to the surface. On the surface, my character Omori stands. And there really isn't much. You got a cat, a door, a laptop, a journal, and a few other small things. I remember opening the journal and... I then checked the laptop and discovered that it's used for diary entries. But every diary entry is the same. Today I spent time in white space. Everything is okay. The dates are all unknown. Based on that, Omori has been here a while. When you exit the laptop, a deep rumbling echoes through white space, followed by the sound of a steel clamp. The game tells me something fell nearby, so I go and take a look. As I explore, I run into a single hand that chases me. Before I know it, I'm sent back, and my only reaction is, huh? I try again, and I find a knife sitting on the floor. I picked it up, but nothing occurred. You just pick it up. After that, there was nothing else to really interact with. I was honestly starting to get bored. I couldn't figure out what I needed to do. I kept running into these hands, thinking they'd be my way out. I couldn't tell you how dumb I felt when I realized I just needed to interact with the door again. I end up opening the door and walking through it. The screen fades to white. And then I entered headspace. Yeah, this room looked way too weird for me. You got a big yellow cat looking over the wall with a purple space background that looked like an 8-year-old drew it. A big table with one bean on it, a tree in the room with a rainbow staircase on the side. None of this was making sense. There are 3 kids standing in the middle, and when they see my character come in, they jump with excitement. These 3 kids, Aubrey, Kel, and Hiro, are your friends. They're a rather rambunctious group. Kel and Aubrey are always pulling antics and teasing each other, and you kind of have Omori and Hiro, Kel's older brother, keeping things together. After talking to them for a bit, Hiro states that Mari and Basil, other members of the friend group, are waiting for you at the playground, and so you and your friends are off to the playground. And nothing could prepare me.
For how much of a fool I felt like playing this game. What is this, bro? How'd it go see? Look at this dude. Is this kid stupid? Oh, nah. Oh, nah. For about an hour, I was like this. My patience was running dry. I wasn't sensing a plot or story. Sure, bits of the dialogue in the world were cute, but it wasn't enough to win me over. Neither was the gameplay. In order for me to fully be invested in a game, it has to have a compelling story.
I'm the kind of player who takes narrative over gameplay any day when it comes to single player games. You can have addictive gameplay, but if the story doesn't work for me, I have no urge to continue because my interest isn't there. And Omori just wasn't checking that box. You meet up with Mari and Basil and hang out with them. Mari is your sister and is basically the mom of the friend group. Basil is your closest friend of the group. He appears as the most frail one of the group, but everyone loves him for him. They like the photos he takes, the moments he captures.
Okay, look, the game was cute. I'll admit that. But like I said, I needed something to draw me in. There was just one quest, go to Basil's house to visit his garden.
And so I did. My interest in this game was hanging on by a thread. The fight encounters you had were beyond silly to me. The enemies, the attack moves, all of it. I thought to myself, is this really all the game is? I was about to exit the game and uninstall it, but then I made it to Basil's house. You enter the house and help Basil put the photo album back together with the rest of your friends. All seems fun and cute. But what happened next left me stunned with bewilderment. My hands were incredibly still. I couldn't even curl my thumbs to move in the game. I just stared at the screen, completely lost with a chill running down my spine. The absence of music brought a growing uneasiness. The door to get to the colorful world that I was just in was gone. I wandered aimlessly, clicking on everything in sight, hoping to proceed to the next portion of the game. But what I didn't realize was your only exit was sitting in your pocket all along, waiting to enter your chest. You die. Or so you think. A cutscene plays, and if you weren't already confused, this only elevates that. The texts that appear on the screen make no sense to you. Nothing does. It's all presented with no context, and that decision led me to ask even more questions. What proceeded to follow, though, was a game sequence that had me shook to my core. One that left me on the edge of my seat, that made all the hairs on my body stand stiff. A game sequence that was a hellish nightmare. In this world, you are Sunny. You get out of bed and check the phone message. It's a pretty standard, "Hey son, I won't be home for a few days, there's food in the fridge for you" type of voicemail. Nothing horrifying is happening on screen. Show this scene out of context to someone and they'll believe it's a breather moment of the game. But after everything that was just witnessed, in your gut, you know something deeply sinister is about to happen. So you leave your room and explore. As you walk around, you notice a good portion of your surroundings are obstructed by darkness. A faint circle of light is centered on you, but even then, it's hard to see. You try to go down the stairs, but for some reason, Sunny is unable to. You explore the other rooms, but find there's nothing to see, so you try going back to sleep. but your hunger won't let you. You leave your room, but this time the darkness is gone and the window radiates a red glowing light. You make your way to the stairs, and for some unknown reason, you're able to go down now. The stairs go down without end. You feel like you're going nowhere. All of a sudden, dozens of hands begin reaching for you. You're then brought into a battle with something your eyes can't process. You try to fight it, but none of your attacks work. You just take hits, over and over. I begin to panic along with Sunny. I don't know what it is that I need to do to win this fight. Do I just keep letting it hit me? After taking several hits, the entity tells me to take a deep breath for some reason. I then learn that move and use it. Sunny recovers a majority of his health and he no longer is afraid. The fight ends right there, and I find myself at the bottom of the stairs finally. I cautiously made my way to the kitchen. There, I prepared some leftover steak and ate it. Sunny's stomach didn't react well to it, so it's off to the bathroom upstairs. You go to the toilet and, after throwing up, you make your way back to your room to go to bed, but you're stopped by the sound of knocks at the door. They come repeatedly with impatience. Whoever is knocking wants in. I slowly made my way back downstairs. Something didn't feel right. Sunny's mother had just left a message saying that she was out of town, and it was well into midnight. So, who could it possibly be? You reach the door and hear from the other side that it's Omori, your sister. I let out an audible sigh of relief and opened the door. But as the door slowly creaked open, I realized I made a terrible mistake. At this point, the game has pulled the complete 180. The screenshots were just a front. A fun, friendly adventure game with cute enemies had turned into a pixel horror game with haunting settings and unsettling monsters to fight. And this all happens within the first hour. How did Omori manage to shock me in such a short amount of time? How did the game deceive and mislead me into thinking that I was going to go on a whimsical adventure? The answer is just one word: marketing. When you click on Omori in the Xbox store, the store doesn't give you much. They give you a handful of screenshots that present a bright, cute world with quirky creatures that appear as enemies. There's only one screenshot that shows the terrifying being we just encountered. You can say that the store doesn't hide the horror elements in the game. They blatantly show you a terrifying monster, one that's drastically different from the rest. But I can make the personal argument that the screenshot shown in the store didn't give away the horror aspects in this game. The trailer you get in the store is a peaceful one. It's calm, relaxing, heartwarming, tranquil. It shows no sign that the game you're interested in playing will terrify you. It also doesn't tell you what the game is about. So when I saw that one unsettling screenshot, I really just thought it was going to be a boss battle. My point is, you don't understand the context behind the screenshot, so you don't consider the possibility that the game will frighten you. Deceiving and misleading players like this is dangerous. You might run into having a situation like Naughty Dog had with The Last of Us Part 2, a marketing vision that withheld key points in the story that ultimately polarized the player base. But with Omori, withholding the horror aspect of the game and letting the players discover this on their own is one of the main reasons why this game has become beloved by so many. What the fuck? It's the first hour of the game that remains special to everyone who played it. We all had the same experience with it if we managed to not have the game spoiled. That oblivious feeling as we walked around the playground and through Basil's garden, thinking the game would remain like this until the end, only to have that feeling and bundle of thoughts wiped from you as the things become demented. It's the only game that I can recall that managed to successfully deceive me. Because of this trick, it hooked me. I desperately wanted to learn the meaning of everything that was occurring, so I pushed through the combat and played for the narrative. I wasn't expecting such a dark, mature, and twisted story based off of the marketing from this game. Thanks to the vague marketing, Omori gave me a gaming experience I will never forget. I still hate RPGs, but Omori's incredible story somehow managed to get me through it, and more than made up for the lackluster combat. I always thought that my top list of games would remain at 3, but after finishing Omori, that list excitedly welcomed the new game with open arms.